I'm BatJac J.W. and I happen to be over here at the table with Icarryone. We're a couple of, I guess we like some 1911s, and so
yeah, we got some.
I got a couple of them out here. You know, I gotta say, I'm glad I stopped by to this table.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt there's some 1911s laying up here that
A little bit of them.
a few. But you know, the thing is, they do represent everything from the beginning,
1918,
1918, up until
the middle of the war,
Right.
in between wars, I guess, and World War II and beyond.
yes, it's Korea,
So,
Vietnam,
You name
up
it.
until they phased 1911 out of military service.
Yeah, I'll tell you, good old John Browning had something here.
Oh, he did. Let me tell you. And, you know, it's continued on with other manufacturers and stuff. They've actually done some improvements, you know,
Right.
and enhancements to the 1911, which is represented by a number of them laying here on the table, is that we have, you know, they're made from everything from exotic materials, stainless steel.
Right. Got a
regular
nice
steel.
scandium one here.
Yeah, scandium. The
That's a really nice
Smith &
one.
Wesson.
Smith & Wesson
Performance Center.
Performance Center, a carry model. I mean, they have the bob on
Yeah,
the...
bobtail.
And why did they do that?
That's mostly for concealed carry, and it actually makes the gun a little bit more comfortable to carry, because depending on how you carry,
Right.
the bobbed heel on it will allow it to not dig into your hide. It makes it just, well, like I said, more comfortable to carry.
Yeah, I like that. And they flattened the top and they serrated it, as
No
well
glare.
as serrating the back.
Yeah, also to eliminate glare. A lot of thought went into that pistol, and it could be considered one of your higher end 1911s.
A Smith & Wesson Performance Center. Definitely cool. It does have the Performance Center here. And I do like the way the roll stamp is on there. It just says Smith & Wesson, Springfield,
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
it's a very well made 1911.
Absolutely.
You know, just to be honest with you, I can't recall, and I put quite a few rounds to that pistol, but I
Yeah.
don't ever recall that 1911 ever failing to fire, feed, or eject a round. I mean, that's the kind of dependability that you pay for when you buy a Performance Center 1911. Anyway, moving along.
I actually really like this long slide.
Yes.
That is quite a pistol right there. You know, just in comparison to the size-wise, you have the very large.
Well, that's the large and the small of it.
Large and the small of it right here. This is a Colt officer's model,
Right.
Really, right there.
Yeah, and that is a Colt. It is a Colt Defender.
That's a
And,
really nice
Yeah,
pistol.
the long slides are pretty well considered either your target or to me they're more of a hunting length 1911, and that one happens to be chambered in 10 millimeter, which is one of my favorite hunting.
I wouldn't have
cartridges.
thought that, but you know, I started noticing. I said, there's quite a bit of 10 millimeter here.
Yeah, if you didn't know me, you might not recognize the fact that I might be a
Nothing
bit of a 10
gives that
millimeter
away,
fan.
really.
Yeah.
Interesting thing. I want to take a moment here. Can we look at a clip of the accuracy on this right now?
Yeah, we can include that clip.
Why don't we check that out right now? Let's see the accuracy on this, and I carry
we
one.
can do that.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's a good shooter.
I mean, that's.
The gun's capable of better accuracy than
We're talking 25 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, because of the adjustable sights and all on it, it makes it it's well suited for hunting. And you know, some states do require that a handgun have a barrel
That's
length
right.
of at least 6 inches to be
I
considered
used to live in
legal for
one of
hunting.
those states.
Yeah, and if you happen to live in one of those states, that particular Ivor Johnson right there, 10 millimeter, more than meets the criteria.
Right, that's a good hunting gun. I like the long slide personally because watched this movie when I was younger called Trespass with William Sadler, and he carries one of these long slide 1911s in it. It's a really cool movie. It's also got the late Bill Paxton in it. Really cool stuff. But always for me, the A1 World War II gun, my favorite by none. When it comes to the features, I love the World War II features.
Oh yeah.
I love the hump on the mainspring housing. I like the short trigger. I like the spur hammer, even though a lot of folks have
that's what
gone
your
over to
classic 1911.
Yeah, I guess I'm a nostalgic kind of person, so I just love the old school.
And I'm a little more eclectic.
Yeah.
Now I am a diehard 1911 fan, as you can see.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question or doubt that we're sitting here. There's a couple 1911 guys here.
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely a couple of 1911 guys. You know, and one of the things that, we have one here on the table that kind of answers the question a lot of guys like to throw at 1911 fans is that, well, your 1911, it only holds 7 to 8 rounds.
Right, but...
And now, if you go with an A2 model, that kind of blows that argument right out of the water.
There.
This one happens to hold 16 plus 1 rounds.
16 plus 1.
Yes, a total of 17 rounds of 10 millimeter rounds, which is nothing to sneeze at.
Absolutely not. I mean, look at this thing. This is, and I don't have very large hands, and I like the feel of that. That fits the hand really well.
It's not as large as some of the larger polymer models as far as the grips go, and still get your hand around a large caliber like the 10 millimeter.
Yeah, it's pretty slim. I mean,
the grips are actually pretty slim on that, but it's well designed, and I can't knock Rock Island for the way they put that gun together. It was well thought out, and it shoots well. I mean, what's not to like? And it does have the firepower that some guys think that they need that much firepower. Then if so, then a 1911 A2 would definitely meet that criteria for you.
Yeah, definitely. But I got a lot of Wilson Combat mags that are 8. So you got 8 in 1. And so you got the 9 rounds to your disposal. I like the Wilson Combat mags.
Now, we don't have them here on the table, but I actually have some 15 round and 25 round drum magazines that will fit
any one of these.
1911s.
Yeah.
Now, the ones I have happen to be chambered are set up for 45 ACP, but increasing a standard ACP to 15 rounds is something. And when you increase that on up to 28 to 30 rounds in a drum magazine, that's a lot of firepower from a very potent cartridge.
Now, even though I no question I love 1911s. My mistress is a Browning high power, but we have an interesting piece over here that's a commander. It's actually a Colt commander in 9 millimeter.
Right.
That's an interesting piece right here. I think this is such a really cool package. Really, just the commander size, 9 millimeter. I used to be one of those guys that says, man, I can't.
We had that conversation, and we both felt
that
way.
But I got one in my hands. I started shooting it, and I said, "Where have you been?"
Right. Now I got to admit, I'm with you on that because there was a time, as a 1911 fan, that if it wasn't chambered for 45 ACP, then it's just not a true 1911. Yeah. But after shooting a few of them that were chambered for 1911, I started to swing the other way a little bit and decided that, you know what, the 9 millimeter round is an excellent round for a 1911 platform.
Yeah. Bill Wilson himself.
I've done a complete flip.
Yeah. He has said it's actually easier to make a more reliable 1911 in 9 millimeter than it is 45. That was his words that he said. Also, I'd like to say that Bill Wilson he has definitely cracked the code on the magazines.
Right.
Not plugging him or anything. We're not getting paid by him. I'm just saying that I have experienced that I really like his magazines.
Right. Now, as far as reliability goes, like I said, I think we took one brief look at the commander size Dan Wesson down there on the corner. That is also a 9 millimeter.
Yes.
But it's a bit of a higher end 1911. Now you are paying for the nuances in that gun, the hand fitting and the all zero mem parts quality to that 1911 that a lot of guys will spend that extra money for. You know,
it feels really nice.
it does feel real nice. It's glass smooth. Everything is just meticulously fit, and you would expect that from
like
a higher end
this.
1911.
I do like how they bobbed that. I mean,
Right.
just never really got that. I never really held one like in the hand, and really it was like, wow, you know, as much as I like my arched mainspring housing, this is really
Yeah.
a nice fit.
The bobtails are some of my preferred carry model. Now, some of these others are that I just love to shoot, just strictly shoot targets with.
Dan Wesson Valor model, that's a nice one.
Yeah, it is. It's one of their flagship models.
I'm glad we have this one on
And
the table.
oh yeah, I mean, if a guy wants a high-end 1911 and he doesn't really want to get into the Wilson Combat Les Bear Nighthawk Custom class of pistols, but he wants that quality, then I would seriously consider a Dan Wesson.
Yeah. I mean, kind of looking at what we have here, just to kind of explain to the viewers at home or wherever time you're watching this, what we have here, we have a nice example of a 1918 Colt right here. They're talking the original configuration where you have really terrible sights. They're very
Those are
small.
your typical World War I
Right.
military sight, yeah.
You had a flat, smooth mainspring housing, hardly any beaver tail there, with a nice wide claw type hammer that will give you bite and a longer trigger. Notice there's no scalloping on the frame, indicates this is truly John Browning's.
Yeah, the
That's
way
it. Yeah, that's
the
what
way,
he-
the way it was designed initially.
Right.
That's the real deal, the original design.
And then what's neat is we happen to have a transitional gun, really, a 1930 commercial gun, which is interesting because it has some parts in between the A1 and that, because you can really see where they started to change things. Shorten the trigger, scalloping the frame, arched mainspring housing, extended the beaver tail, still kept the claw hammer there, but the sights still, they're basically a tiny U-notch.
But they're
and everything.
slightly better than the original.
Yeah, and this is a C series prefix on the serial
Yes.
number. This is definitely a nice piece to have in the
Yeah,
collection.
it does indicate that they've started moving towards the user-friendly.
Yeah, and the finish during
Yeah,
that time, you can really tell, even though this is a civilian commercial model, the finish on this is immaculate. It's amazing to see something like that. You won't see guns being
Now,
made like
those
that
that have
anymore.
of that age period in history that have that quality finish still remaining that's original are definitely collectible.
You could probably get something similar to it from like Doug Turnbull, but you're gonna pay.
What do you say? It's like anything else. You get what you pay for.
Yeah. And then moving over here, we got the World War II guns. You got the classic Colt A1, of course, with all the features I like. You got the the keys grips. I guess
Right.
would be like a phenolic resin.
Your pretty atypical GI.
Yeah, GI.
Second World War issue.
Second World War. And we got a couple examples, which is neat because we have the Colt. I think you have a Remington Rand and an Ithaca over there.
Right.
And
And they moving up an era from
Right.
Korea on up to the Vietnam era.
And I wanted to kind of point this out. This is kind of neat because you got a gun here. This is very typical of the military, the U.S. military back then. We have a Union switch and signal slide on top of an early 1918 frame from a Colt. Although the whole thing is still Parkerized gray, and you can see it's still. One thing I noticed about this is it's all uniform Parkerizing, so it's not, as you can see, it was built that way and sent out that way. That was a perfect example of military not caring about collector items. They were caring more about getting this thing into
You can
battle.
almost see the stamp of a military armorer
Right.
who went
All
through the
over this
arsenal,
thing.
gathered the needed parts to repair a 1911 by whatever means he could, and return it into the arsenal.
And get it back out there, right there. So that's a really cool piece. I think that's one of my favorites right there.
Yeah, it's a great piece to own.
And over there, you actually, and I wanted you to touch on this a little bit because I've constantly heard this throughout shops and everywhere. You have right there in the front a true classic Colt Series 70 government model. Talk about the Mark IV 70 series pistol
Yeah,
with the collet barrel bushing on it.
right. Now, this is a pretty well accumulation of just everything, the progression of all these up until this model here, which is this is extremely commercially successful for Colt. Now it does have the, which to me their typical back, because I remember you're talking about my era now.
Yeah,
is that you had the
hey, but
fingered.
You're looking pretty young these days.
Well, let's give you $1 for saying that, but anyway, the barrel bushings on these just still retains the old fingered type that were split bushing that used that configuration bushing. A lot of what you see in the 1911s today have all gone to the solid, easy to change out, commercially available barrel bushing, which you can take one of those and replace this. But why I like this is because it is all original.
Yeah,
it has the correct bushing, periods correct bushing, all the parts. It's in fantastic condition, and it's a great shooter to boot.
Yes, it is. And one thing I like about that example particularly, which I notice a lot of the Mark IV 70 guns, the roll marks on the slide are kind of faint and light. That one actually is really prominent and there. It has not been too worn off.
I don't know how well they can tell.
Yeah, I don't know how well they will be able to tell.
You won't be able to zoom in because we don't have a third
but
person.
It's there. It's prominently there rather than a lot of them where they look like, you almost kind of say, was that like, did they get buffed out or whatever? And that's the way they sadly left the factory.
Well, depending on how many they're producing in a particular time period, what the orders are, how fast they're trying to produce them, that this one is at a time.
They were cranking them out.
They were cranking them out, but it wasn't a wartime issue.
That's right.
And now they're going to slow that assembly line down a little bit. And you're going to get some pristine roll marks. They're not kicking them off there 6 slides a second. They're kicking them out there 2 or 3 slides a minute. And they got time to slow that roller press down and really get some really nice, clean, crisp presses on there.
And we got a Colt Gold Cup 70 Mark IV as well.
Extremely popular target and competition pistol.
Yeah, the Gold Cup is certainly a pretty nice example of a 1911.
And the Gold Cup is Colt's answer to.
Yeah, what is the whole story on the Gold Cup?
Well, the Gold Cup was put together for shooters that were moving into competition.
The national match and stuff.
Yeah, that didn't have the wherewithal to take a GI and build it up into a national match quality model. The Gold Cup was available over the counter with those enhancements already there for the consumer who wanted a competition pistol but didn't know how to build one. And at one time, if you wanted a custom 1911, that was the route you had to take. You took a GI 1911 and you started building in the direction you wanted to go. And some guys built them till they're absolutely unreliable, and some of the reputation came from there. And some guys actually went way beyond guys like Wilson Combat and all those. They made a brand name out of being able to customize a 1911 to a customer's specifications. It became very big business. It was no more guys in their garage taking this and trying to tune it up, and make it better and dial it in for competition. You had the availability of a competition pistol right out of the box from Colt.
Nice, very nice. How about we take a look at some more range footage here?
Yeah, let's go in and just, if you guys
are still here in
1911 goodness, we can just head out to the range and fire a few more.
Let's head out to the range and fire some of these off. BatJac J.W. Look at this 1911. That's sweet. That's really nice. There we go.
It's a sweetie.
Wow, that was a good time.
Yeah, that's always fun. I mean, you're not going to ever hear me complain
Complain
about having to go out and
take
shoot
out
a half
the
a
old
dozen
slab sides
1911s.
out. One of the things too, like you brought out here is the officer's model,
Right.
which is really nice. I fell in love with these when I saw Al Pacino carrying one in the movie Heat, directed by Michael Mann, which is
Right.
excellent. You get a nice look at it when he's heading up in the elevator to go confront some people. But what a nice package! I know some people are hesitant on it because of the size, but really, it fits really nice.
Now, in 45 caliber, the officer size 1911 can pack a bit of recoil, which is the 1911 for the most part is not really noted for its snappy,
Recoil.
wrist-jarring recoil. But now, in 45 caliber, a small package like that, you can feel it bounce. You're going to know it when you pull the trigger. But this one happens to be chambered in 9mm, which is a lot more controllable in a shorter package.
Yeah.
Now, like I say, that some guys say, well, that's a 1911 chambered at 9mm. Well, okay, fine. But as I thought about it more and actually fired a few of them, I go, well, this might be it might be the thing for me because it's in a small concealable package. It's easily controllable.
Right.
And it has enough firepower to get the job done.
Absolutely. Now, we were talking about some imported stuff that perhaps is more on a budget-friendly
Sure.
kind of thing, but make no mistake, they're really good stuff.
Well,
we have
never confuse the
Right.
term budget-friendly with
right.
junk.
Yeah, exactly.
Because some of these that are made in the Philippines, the budget quality is not to be considered junk because these are CNC machine handguns. They're well made, they're
like those
accurate, they're
grips.
reliable, and they do come in at a slightly lower price point than say a Dan Wesson or
Right.
or one of the higher end. And they're well, they say that they are what they are. They're well made, they're reliable, and they get it done. And they're a lot of fun to shoot.
And if you're like me, that you like the GI guns, but the price tag is really scary on them, you can get something like this Ivor Johnson
Sure.
that's an exact copy
Of a 1911A1.
of a 1911A1. I mean, the keys grips, was that something that was that on it? Or
I
did you
put
had-
the keys grips.
you
I
put
had
the
an
keys
extra
grip?
pet of those are
Yeah.
original.
Oh, the original keys
They're
grips we
original
got
off
on
of
this
a World
one.
War II,
Nice.
1911. And I thought, well, it came off of a 1911A1 that was, well, the grips were, let me clarify that. Those were old, well, they're actually
New old stock.
new old stock.
Yeah, and there you can get those on eBay or wherever, and pretty much,
Well, you can get those. The real ones will cost a little bit more,
yeah.
the original issue ones, but now you can get ones that are reproductions of those. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah, you really can't. And I've even altered some of them that I had gotten some of the reproduction grips that were maybe perhaps not quite the same shade as the original keys. Take a little bit of
Right.
fabric dye, soak them down in there, a little bit of reddish brown, and they kind of match you right up.
But it gives the missing nuance that it needs
Yeah.
to look authentic.
That's just me being nostalgic. I just can't help myself a lot of times. I just, have to.
It's me being anal retentive.
But-
it has to have the right stuff.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have these particular things, to me, it's not period correct, and I just go nuts trying to make it that way.
We also have the new Colt commercial model there at the end. That's something new for Colt that they put out. It runs on a MSRP around $800. Really a nice, fantastic firearm. Match grade barrel, out of the box, great sights. This thing really shoots really well. And a lot of times you hear the term Colt or the name Colt, you start thinking major money. But for something that's pretty well under the $1,000 marker,
Colt
that's
makes
really-
a number of different models
yeah, they
that are
absolutely
still under
do.
the sub $1,000 category that are excellent 1911s.
Right.
Colt government model, Series 70. And I mean, you can't fault Colt. I mean, Colt's one of the original manufacturers, although there have been many since.
Many.
None of them can complain.
So we can see.
They can't claim the first spot.
No,
That will
yeah.
always belong to Colt.
Yeah. Like Ruger, when did these come out? 2011?
They've been making the SR 1911 for a number of years now, but they've only in the last few years came out with this model here in 10
Right.
millimeter.
Oh, this is the 10 mil. Wow.
10 millimeter auto.
What would I guess? 10 millimeter. Beautiful. I like those grips, by the way.
Yeah. The wife found those, and I agree. I thought they would look absolutely great on there, and they've been there ever since.
Nice. Well, I mean, how much more 1911 can you get? I'm really glad that I got invited to this table. I was really glad to grab a seat on this one.
Well, it's really
because-
it's enjoyable to sit here and lay out this many 1911s,
Yeah.
and then sit there and try to deny that you're a 1911 fan.
So,
It's not going to fly.
right. I'm BatJac J.W. This is Icarryone. Head on over and give this guy a subscription because you got some really good videos, and I really
Well, thank
think
you.
they're there. So I appreciate you all coming around, liking this video here and leaving comments and supporting it. This is a lot of fun, and yeah, I think it's fair to say I like a 1911.
Yeah. So until next time, practice often, shoot straight, and thanks for stopping by.
You heard it right here. Ha!